Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, where I talk about how to make money online and a lot of times about Kindle Direct Publishing and publishing on Amazon. I like to publish low content books. I actually publish high content, nonfiction, all this sort of things. So if you have questions, please always feel free to ask me, and I have videos live every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. So these videos I'm trying to do, or specifically this video, I had a question about interiors. So I wanted to talk about making custom interiors, and this is really great for beginners. And even if you're not a beginner, sometimes this information is really good to know because it's something you didn't know before. You think you know everything, and someone comes along and shows you something different. I am no exception. I am always learning, always looking at YouTube videos of other people who use the tools that I like to use and show me different ways and unique ways to do them. All right. So if you like, please like and subscribe to my channel because I love you guys and I want to help you guys and bring out videos that you guys enjoy. So ask questions, anything else. All right, so we're going to talk about interiors. So I have this page that I've kind of created for myself, but it's kind of, I make standard sizes. I tend to make 6x9, 8x10s, and 8.5 by 11s, and I tend to make them these page number sizes. Basically, for interiors, especially if you're a beginner, there's two options: bleed and no bleed. And I kind of suggest for the beginners, start with no bleed. And what that means is that you are going to have margins around the edges of your pages, and that they should be, and I have here, this is the minimum size, 0.375 inches. Okay, so that needs to be around the whole sides, and I will show you what that means in just a second here. But it means that you're going to have space between the edges because they're going to crop the pages, and that cropping may not be exact, and so you don't want anything near the edges because it might be cropped off, or it might get kind of stuck into the edge of the book where someone wouldn't be able to use it. Like when you open a book and the inside, you don't want things too close to that because then people can't write on it. So really, you're going to want to do that. Now, the great thing about doing no bleed, and like I said, this is what I suggest for those of you who are just starting. No bleed means that whatever the page size you're picking, it's the page size, okay? So if you're going to do a 6x9 book, then the size will be 6x9. If you're going to do 8x10, it's 8x10, 8.5 by 11, right? So this makes it easy. That's why I say start with no bleed, because honestly, most people don't probably need bleed. Bleed is when you're trying to do like a picture towards the edge. Think of a children's book and how the pages go all the way to the edge, the picture cuts off. That's what bleed is. It goes all the way to the edge. But if you're going to do lines and things like that, generally you don't want them to go all the way to the edge because people want space to write in the margins, or it just looks neater to not have things go all the way to the edge. So for the beginner, really start with no bleed. But if you do want to do bleed, basically you take whatever size it is and add for the width 0.125 and for the height 0.25. So you can see the sizing here. 6x9 would be 6.125, and then height 9.25, and that's the same for the rest. You can see some basic math here. And yet again, you still want to have margins. Any sort of writing that you're going to do, any like words, need to be within that margin. This is the minimum margins really, and it needs to be within that margin, or the interior checker will say, hey, you have an error. Now, if you have a picture, like I said, remember children's picture books where something bleeds off the edge, like a picture, that's fine because that's what bleed is for. But actual words or things like that, it needs to be within the margins. Okay, so not to be too confusing, but there it is. I did want to show you Book Bolts, a free resource if you're just starting out. If you go into bookbolt.io and you go up here to resources, they have an interior wizard and there are free items, okay? So I have a link in my show notes that you can go and check this out for Book Bolts, so you don't have to remember any things, but you just click this interior wizard and they've got some interiors. So you know, the 6x9. So if you were just going for this paper right here, or something like that, there's free ones, there's ones you have to pay for. When you're a member, you get those included. But if you're just starting out, you know, this is a really great option. But I like to teach people how to do it themselves, because I think understanding how to make it is really important. So here is in PowerPoint. I personally use PowerPoint and Canva, but I tend to use PowerPoint more, probably because I'm well versed in PowerPoint, and because it has a lot of functions that you probably didn't know you could do that make it really easy to do stuff. So I'm going to show you something. Now we have to make our pie. Remember, our page needs to be, we're going to do 6x9. We'll do a 6x9 notebook, okay? And this is obviously not right. So it's pretty easy to fix. You just need to go into Design, and you're going to go over here to Slide Size, and you're going to hit Custom Slide Size. Now, if you can't find something, do remember you can type in the little search here, Custom Slide Size, and it'll find it for you. So, you know, if you get a little lost, but design is the way I go. Now, we're going to make this, what did I say, 6x9, and remember, no bleed, so it's the same, with 6 inches, little space so the inches is right, and 9. Okay, and if you don't put inches, it depends how yours is set up. Mine is set up that it knows I mean inches. Now, people always ask me maximize ensure fit. This slide is blank. It really doesn't matter. Ensure fit makes it squish down so that it ensures it fits. It's kind of like the picture, and maximize means it tries to bring it to the edges. But this is a blank slide, so it's not going to make a difference. Okay, so here's my 6x9 size. Now the first thing I like to do is I like to put my grid lines on, okay, so that I have my margins. Remember we were talking about margins? So usually the easiest place to find it is you click on Insert, and you right click, and you get these grids and guides. Okay, so I'm going to add one, and so this goes half. So remember I was saying I do 0.5, mostly because the math makes this easy. So I'm just going to go over till this is 2.5, and the reason it's 2.5 is because 0's in the middle. Oops, I missed 2.5. There it is. Okay, now I'm just going to insert another one on the other side, and make sure I grab the right one, and I'm moving it over to be there, 2.5. Okay, now I'm going to insert the horizontal ones. Grab that one, put it down. It's going to be at 4 because it was 4.5. Oops, there it is. And insert horizontal. Okay. Grab it again, and I'm just like holding it and grabbing it and pulling it up. All right, whoops. There we go. That's it. Okay, so I know everyone likes to use templates and things like that, but I have found that when I use templates, I get errors more often. So I am a firm believer in making my own. And it really, you could see, is not hard to just do a 0.5 around all the edges. It's pretty easy. If you need to use a calculator to subtract, that's fine. But I just made my template, so I know everything has to be within this square right here, okay? This is going to be blank, and KDP is going to make sure it is blank, okay? That's what they're looking for. But you can make your stuff all the way up to the edges. And remember, we put a margin of error, so it's like 3.75 is what you can do to the closest, and we put 5.5, so you can make your stuff go all the way to the edge, and there won't be a problem because we've built in some error. Okay, so here's my interior. Now I wanted to show you a super simple way to make a lined notebook. This is super simple. So you click the table, and you can just kind of go down and do that. And then what I'm going to do, I know it's all these funny lines, but we're going to fix it here in a sec. Okay, so all you're going to do is go into shading and put no fill, and then it looks like a blank square, but we're going to add some lines. So we're going to do the bottom, and then we're going to do, where's that one? Inside horizontal border. There you go. And you can actually change it. If you think this is like too thick of a line, you can go over here and you can make it, you know, thinner. If you want that, or you can even change the color of the lines. That's the text, but let's see. No border. Let's see. Where do we want to change it? Pen color. Let's see if we can make it like a lighter gray. So that kind of makes it a lighter gray. So you can just kind of, okay, so now you want to, you know, add some more lines, right? So what you're going to do is I just kind of highlight something, and then I right click on it. You have to right click twice, I don't know why, and hit insert. Okay, so you're going to insert rows below. That's fine. And you can just keep hitting insert until you are happy with it. Okay, so that goes all the way to the end. And maybe what I want to do is pull this up a little so that that line is sitting, see this line right here, so it's sitting right on my margin. Okay, and there we go. And right, like I said, it's fine that it's sitting right on the margin because we built in air, so it should be fine, the PDF checker. Now all you gotta do, this is super simple, you click on this slide over here and you're gonna hit Control D, and I usually, what I do is click like 10 pages, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you could just keep hitting Control D until you have 100 pages, but I think that takes a long time, so I just hit View, Slide Sorter. I'm going to hit, hold down Shift, click number 1, hold down Shift, that selects them all, Control D, Control D, Control D, right? And now I have a 110 page notebook. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to do. It's super easy to make. Now, I did want to show you something else. Let me just click here. Insert, I just want to insert a new slide. So the power of PowerPoint is that you can do like shapes. So in the tables, I love the tables. But the thing you really need to know is like just adding different shapes and lines and boxes. The tables are really nice just because you can do that, but the things you can add is basically you add shapes and you can, you know, create different things. Just look at, you know, different things you can make. And yeah, I know it sets it as blue, so you just have to click over here to black. And then you can add different things. So let's say you wanted to, I don't know, add something there, and then all you've got to do is your shape fill would be white, your shape outline is black, and you could just create different boxes. You could add different lines in, like maybe you were going to have them write something in here, and then let's see, you can just Control duplicate, right? Okay, so I've got those, and you could just put something in here, like maybe you ask a question and those lines aren't aligned, so you're like, oh no, they're not aligned, but you just select them all. I just hit hold Control down, I select them all, and I can align them all to, let's just that, right? Okay, and then they're all, oops, I didn't also distribute vertically. Okay, so that just distribute vertically just makes them all in a line. And then you can just add text boxes in. Everything, I have some shapes and things down here, but everything is in insert. So you can just insert a text box right there, right? And, you know, 5 of your favorite things. And then you just fix the size of it by coming over here, you know, maybe 12-point fonts. Oops, you got to connect the whole thing or select it. And you have 12, and you can change, you know, the font to anything you have. That's kind of one of my favorite fonts. But you can just do whatever you want and create different things just with shapes. It's really, PowerPoint is more powerful than people think because it is meant to create shapes and things like that. And so you can actually do that, especially if you're creating some basic interiors. So all you've got to fiddle around with is the lines and the shapes, and you've got quite a few to choose from. Big things you need to know about PowerPoint. Insert is like, there's a lot of things in insert that you can find. If you're a little lost, sometimes I can't find something, I'll go back to home so I can find it. But insert has quite a few things you can do in it. Think if you want to add a box, you want to add a text box, you want to add a line, that's going to be in insert, right? Insert things. Insert table, right? If you're going to add things, insert is a lot of the places things are going to be. Home is where, you know, you're going to find your fonts, and you can also have different shapes that might, things that you've used, they kind of tend to put on here. And then the other big one, design. That's where you're going to find your slide size. Now, once we've done this, I'm just going to delete this thing. But once we've done this, we're just going to go here and hit File. And we're going to hit Save As. And all we're going to do is you pick a place to save it. Documents is fine. And then what we have to do, type a name for it, blank 110 page 6x by 9 interior, right? I like to name mine something so that when I see it, I know it's on how many pages, the size, and then it's an interior. You can pick whatever naming scheme you like, but that's kind of what I do. You want to save it as a PowerPoint too, right? So that you have that file that you can reuse. But to use it in KDP, it's going to have to be saved as a PDF. So you're going to hit Save As, a PDF, and then you have to click More Options. And all you're going to do here, go over here to Tools, and you're going to hit Save Options. And this is, you're going to go to Advanced. And then what you want to make sure, you're going to hit, if you have any images or anything, do not compress, and either high fidelity or 330. I know there's some debate. Either one is fine, honestly, high fidelity or 330. So you can just, either one is fine. You can keep those, but don't compress images, things like that. Okay? And then you're going to hit OK. And now it's going to come up, and here I'm going to move me. I'm going to hit Save. It's going to save it. Okay, it's going to think about it for a minute, and then a PDF, depending on your options, the PDF might pop up. If not, it just saved to my documents. That's what I had it do. So you'll have a PDF that you can upload directly to KDP. All right, that's kind of how to make an interior and how to use PowerPoint. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please come on Wednesday live and check out my next video, or make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my videos. All right, thanks. Bye.